last row. Good evening. Okay, so we have, I am Amit Agarwal and we have very eminent panelists here. One side, see, names don't convey everything, and last row has to be active to understand, because then everybody would be active. So I'll introduce first somebody who I came to know much more in last 2 days, Mr. Abhay Mangaldas ji. And believe me, I have honestly gone through a lot of things about you in last 2 days. I knew about you because when we talked to Cheema sir, we know a lot about you. But then I went last 2 days much deeper into know, and then this afternoon I shown something to sir, which I'll mention here. So let me introduce Mr. Abhay Mangaldas ji. He is a leading cultural ambassador. Believe me, to have him here itself is a privilege for all of us. Very importantly, very few people in the world you would find, and in India very rare, is a heritage entrepreneur. So he is one of them, and he is a founder of House of MG. We used to love to go in while we were younger, but we were not able to. Now, of course, you have opened for us common people, and he is the man who made that. He has a strong interest in innovation, design and entrepreneurship. He believes growth happens outside the comfort zone. This is very important for the young minds, and he is always eager to venture into uncharted territory. The Bucky Dome, which we saw this afternoon at Abhay Mangaldas' Ahmedabad residence, is a startling structure, yet in tune with his ethos of sustainability, which is what is the theme. So that's the introduction of one of the eminent speakers. Now I'll introduce an academician, Dr. Sanjay Patel, who is a BE, MTech and a PhD, and he is a HOD at Automobile Department, ADIT, New Vallabh, Vidyanagar. So again, to have him here, we are really honored and privileged. An academician and researcher, and he guides scholars researching on EV. That's very important. He is known, Bachcha log, he is known for being a bit strict administrator. So that's an information from college. Now I have a lady amongst us, and when I read about her, you will know much more. That's Miss Pankti Pandey, an ex-ISRO scientist, has worked 15 years for space, and now she works for Earth. Recently awarded as Green Champion by PM Narendra Modi ji. She is amongst top 100 influencing personality working for change, and also top 100 influencing personality for Forbes. A sustainability educator and community builder for the environmental awareness. So I think for all of us, including all the students here, I think it's a great day and great evening to have all three of them, and I am so fortunate I am a moderator to them. So at least for 30 minutes I can ask questions to them. Okay, so I begin. So as the title is for this discussion, Achieving Sustainability by Transforming the Automobile Sector and Adopting Broad-Based Alternatives in Other Industries to Reduce Carbon Footprint in India, which is relevant. A scope is broadened over EV technology, because eventually we are talking of sustainability. Eventually, as Maitri sir had mentioned, in 2070 we want to be net zero as India on carbon and carbon emission. And so today I begin with the first address to our doctor friend, Dr. Sanjay ji. Which industries in India have the highest potential for reducing their carbon footprint through the adoption of sustainable practices, and what specific actions should be prioritized? I would like your view on this.
largest sector, Now automotive, when you talk about number of vehicles, in India, you can believe there are around 40 crore registered vehicles on the roads. Now when you talk about more and more vehicles, it means more and more carbon footprints in the air. So people are worrying about it, but if you transform towards EV, it will be a better solution. In India, 85% of vehicles are two-wheelers. Now when you talk about the scope of automotive, you have tremendous scope in coming time. Now, if more vehicles are running and more carbon footprints are there, people should worry about it. Right? So EV is one of the best solution, and not up to the EV. We should manufacture everything within India, and starting from the manufacturing to the scrap, it should be from the renewable sources. So I think automotive sector is one of the largest sector in which you can think of this kind of activity.
Right, sir. Can I have Pankti's view on 40 crore vehicles registered? Because that's something that you would have lot of mention about.
When we were having a snack, I was talking to sir that okay, public transport, when we see how urban cities should grow, so it doesn't define a success of an urban city, how much four-wheeler you have in your cities, how much we are wasting our fuel, time and getting frustrated just to go to your workplace. But efficiency of urban cities is measured in how efficient your public transport is in your cities. Because in few days back I was in Delhi and public transport was seamless. It was very easy for me. I was less frustrated. I was, in a good mood when I reached to my office. So yes, it means it can make a huge difference when a city has good electric public transport, and this is how we can work on the pollution as well as the efficiency.
Abhay sir, you have been one of the doyens who have developed heritage, the past for our city Ahmedabad. We have known about it. Can you really comment on what he is mentioning, that we want to transcend to something? But is it really possible in today's world, the way the new generation is looking at the world? That I need your opinion.
Thank you, Casey, for inviting me here. See, I think when we talk about sustainability, we are always talking about how to offset what we have already produced. In India, till 50, 70 years ago, the question did not arise, and villages even today, our lives are naturally sustainable. We use everything is fresh, our lifestyle is such that we lead a sustainable lifestyle. So, in my opinion, this whole word has come from outside, the idea of sustainability. We always had it inherent in our life. Therefore, it is very important for all the young people here to review and understand their own aspirations, because all these problems start with aspirations, about wanting to first own a vehicle, cycle to scooter to car, and eventually to a Mercedes. If you didn't have this aspiration, and if you stuck to public transport, as Pankti is saying, and if we all who can afford one should also use public transport, it would be a change in our mindset, change in our aspiration. We would not be defined by what we possess, but how we lead our lives. And I'm very happy that your mission is to change the value system in the young people who are all driven by ambition, by aspiration, which is all material based aspirations. So I totally agree. More and more countries which are developed, I think the most developed are the Scandinavian countries. There is no difference between people. Everybody travels by public transport, by cycles, depending on the distances. And I think eventually India should rediscover itself to solve the problem.
that's really wonderful that we need to honestly rediscover. And I think we all wish as a generation to rediscover. But I myself being part of your generation believe that the kids today do not listen what we say as we were never listening to our age. So what is your opinion on that? Pankti, I'll prefer to you to start.
So I feel Gen Zs are more smarter when it comes to sustainability because I interact a lot with new generation people and I always love to know their views on sustainability and I feel the definition is different as Abhay has said sustainability is in our Indian genes sustainability हम जब से हम पैदा हुए तब से first thing we bought is reusable cloth का nappy so sustainability is in our Indian genes definition generation wise change होती है for some generation sustainability is something अभी जो generation आ रही है उनके लिए sustainability is maybe public transport maybe EV maybe renewable energy or maybe thrifted clothes so definition is changing but intention is still there new generation wants to do a lot more things and after I feel 10-15 years शायद हमें sustainability के बारे में discussion करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी because वो लोग इतने mindful है because the school system education system are talking a lot and they are really not just talking but walking the talk so many schools are taking such sustainable initiative kids nowadays practicing the sustainability from the beginning of their growing period so they are mindful definitely they are more mindful than I don't want to compare but they are mindful they are mindful and I believe after 15 years we are not going to discuss anything about sustainability because all the people who have grown up they are sustainable they care about the resources they are good humans and they are sustainable.
Sir, what's your view, Sanjay?
I will add one thing in this that we keep on talking about renewable, sustainable, everything, right? But you must have heard from one of university that an ATM machine is teaching us how to save environment by not printing the paper to get one or two ACs in a 6x6 room. So this is something like we should not only keep on talking, we should act on it.
Yes, actions are required. I think what I see when you being a part of an engineering college and we all know, today when we talk to the young kids, particularly for engineering, they all want to go to IT, right? And when I try to understand what is IT, AI, gadget, we all love to use it. I think we used to have one phone instrument for the whole house or probably for 2 or 4 houses in a society versus today people carry 2 mobile phones per person and people have multiple cars in a family and AI I think is now in your mobile and what I understand these things are part of a generational change that is happening which is good, exciting but on top of it it is also impacting sustainability negatively. What is your opinion Abhay first?
One of the things that's happening in a quite a wave, and it will happen here also, is shared ownership. Now, if and the youth will adopt it very quickly because they can then afford to have their aspiration met without having to own. Now, this whole business of ownership is very important to how we can solve this issue of sustainability because there is so much inefficient capital in unutilized goods which are unnecessarily manufactured that this whole part of changing the mindset is, I agree, change happening in the youth. With very little money, they can own the aspirations, their luxuries, and if the shared ownership pattern catches on in India, the problem will be solved fairly quickly. I don't know, however, how we will be able to balance on one hand increasing production and shared ownership because they are slightly in contradiction with each other. But I think that's something to solve.
Great, sir. So So I think we all see a very positive future, and very near we would be able to achieve a lot on sustainability. And so I'll come to Pankti again, which is your favorite: reduce, reuse, recycle, and recover, the circular economy. Do you think government, me, you would be, me, they, them, are doing much for participating in this process called reduce, reuse, recycle, recover?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Because I would say when it comes to I always teach this to school students और ये applicable सबके लिए है. If we have one hotel where everything is mixed, हमारे kitchen में मसाले जो होते हैं अलग अलग रहते हैं, है ना? Then did you see any campaign कि कहीं पे आपको बताया गया कि अरे धनिया, राई, जीरा सब एक में नहीं रखना है. We have to keep it separately. Why we do? Because it's convenient for us. कहीं आपने कैंपेन देखे कि आपको ना कलर वाले कपड़े और वाइट कपड़े अलग नहीं धोने. This is a common sense. When it comes to mixing our waste, हमें कैंपेन करने पड़ते हैं. लाखों करोड़ों रुपए कैंपेन में लगना है कि गीला और सूखा अलग करना है. So the sense of ownership जो अभय सर ने बात किया कि ये कहीं ना कहीं ये मिसिंग है. Still ये campaign, when it comes to our house, we keep everything sorted, we keep everything segregated. But when it comes to what goes out of our house, we don't care. We don't see what effects are happening. Landfill में जा रहा है, जाने दो. Rent pickers को problem हो रही है, होने दो. So that sense of ownership we need to develop inside us. That behavior change, because no matter how we will achieve in technology, AI, EV, renewable energy, but if we don't change the behavior, then there is no meaning of this kind of technological enhancement. So this basic RRR is much needed. It's not happening. It's not happening in the urban cities, because I have visited many rural areas जहाँ पे it's very much streamlined, but in urban cities I don't know what's the reason. Maybe awareness का कोई problem है. We know how to wash color वाले clothes और white clothes अलग. We know कहाँ पे हमें मसाले अलग रखने हैं. Awareness का issue नहीं है. The problem is we don't want to do or we don't care. So this thing we need to change in ourselves. We need to take the ownership and we need to ask ourselves why we are doing it. Until we find that answer of why, doing it for us, not just we just want to do it, but the purpose. We have to find the purpose why we are doing it, and that's how the change will begin in the society, and people will go beyond the campaigns, and then people will start doing it.
Sanjay sir, do you know the why? Do you know the answer to why? Or can you have an opinion on that why? Okay, so I'll move forward, and I just wanted a input from all of you. Government, we always have a very very standard habit. Government नहीं कर रही, जो हमसे नहीं होता, government नहीं कर रही. मेरी भी वही आदत है और हर इंडियन की आदत है. So government is not doing something. Do you really think government is doing enough? Are they walking the talk? When we say, we had Randeep Singh talking about training, he being the key person participating in the whole process of setting up the policies for EV. Not only I am talking of your 3 or 4 hours, I am talking of all other initiatives of campaigns. कि ये कचरा अलग रखो, ये सूखा अलग डालो. Is government doing enough? Because eventually it boils down to me, you, and every citizen of this country to participate. But is government doing enough? Is the first thing we need to talk. Are they walking the talk?
So I would say yes, India is doing far better when it comes to reducing the carbon footprint. Not just one thing, but in every aspect. We need to push the things in renewable energy, solar, or building strict policies when it comes to waste management. Because in waste management sector, there are strict laws and policy being implemented. In EV sector, they are really pushing it. EVs, if we are visiting the Tier 1 cities, we are seeing because of electric buses. If we are visiting tattoo cities, we will see lots of electric rickshaws. So yes, change are happening. If you see afforestation, because the monsoon was just here, and you have seen lots of plantation drive going on in our country, mass plantation drive. So government is doing really nice, and then we have very good campaigns for Mission Life, then Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So all the people is joining the hands. It's not only just government. We all have to join the hands to make it possible. Because as you mentioned, जब कभी we want to change, हम दुनिया बदलने की बात करते हैं. But we don't start from ourselves. हम चाहते हैं कि दुनिया में चेंज आ जाए, पर हम तो गीला और सूखा कचरा अलग नहीं करेंगे. So that's what we want. We expect कि सब कुछ चेंज हो जाए, हमें नहीं चेंज होना है. So if we want to, this is a global goal. तो हमें सबको इसमें भागीदारी करनी होगी. It's not just government, not just a policy, not just what kind of laws being implemented. सबको साथ मिलके इसमें चलना है.
Abhay sir, you would have a much larger and much different view, I'm so sure. But thank you so much, Abhay sir. Thank you, Sanjay ji, and thank you, Pankti ji, for wonderful discussion. I'm really very thankful to the audience as well. They have been patient and have brought in lot of good questions onto the table for pondering over. And of course, as sir has stated in closing statement, everything can't be closed until there is a closure. So I think let's keep it open. Let's keep pondering. Let's not make questions to do work on it, as you have stated, and we will talk of sustainable banking in future. So thank you so much, all the panelists.